All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's Friday.
It is.
Today, Paul is sent to Caesarea. Acts chapter 22, starting at verse 23. Then the commander called two of his officers and ordered, "Get 200 soldiers ready to leave for Caesarea at 9 o'clock tonight. Also take 200 spearmen and 70 mounted troops. Provide horses for Paul to ride, and get him safely to Governor Felix." Then he wrote this letter to the governor: "From Claudius Lysias to His Excellency Governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by some Jews, and they were about to kill him when I arrived with the troops. When I learned that he was a Roman citizen, I removed him to safety. Then I took him to their high council to try to learn the basis of the accusations against him. I soon discovered the charge was something regarding their religious law, certainly nothing worthy of imprisonment or death. But when I was informed of a plot to kill him, I immediately sent him on to you. I have told his accusers to bring their charges before you." So that night, as ordered, the soldiers took Paul as far as Antipatris. They returned to the fortress the next morning, while the mounted troops took him on to Caesarea. Then, when they arrived in Caesarea, they presented Paul and a letter to Governor Felix. He read it and then asked Paul what province he was from. "Cilicia," Paul answered. "I will hear your case myself when your accusers arrive," the governor told him. Then the governor ordered him kept in prison at Herod's headquarters. Now the commentary. The Roman commander ordered Paul sent to Caesarea. Jerusalem was the seat of the Jewish government, but Caesarea was the Roman headquarters for the area. God works in amazing and amusing ways. God could have used any number of ways to get Paul to Caesarea, but he chose to use the Roman army to deliver Paul from his enemies. God's ways are not our ways. Ours are limited, his are not. Don't limit God by asking him to respond your way. When God intervenes, things will work out much better than you could ever anticipate. Felix was a Roman governor in Judea from AD 52 to 59. This was the same position Pontius Pilate had held. While the Jews were given much freedom to govern themselves, the governor ran the army, kept the peace, and gathered the taxes. How did Luke know what was written in the letter from Claudius Lysias? In his concern for historical accuracy, Paul used many sources to make sure that his writings were correct. See Luke chapter 1, verse 1 through 4. This letter was probably read aloud in court when Paul came before Felix to answer the Jews' accusations. Also, because Paul was a Roman citizen, a copy may have been given to him as a courtesy. Yep, Paul gets to travel for free.
Right.
And completely protected until he gets there.
Right.
So, as the Jews wanted to kill him, but God wasn't having it. He may be punished, and it was not a pleasant situation for him.
It was not pleasant.
But again, I think later on we find that even though he was in Roman custody, he was actually chained to two Roman guards, and he got to share the gospel to them, and that keeps going on and on and on from there. So God sometimes has a sense of humor.
Yeah, often.
Yeah, like this, it's kind of a...
Often.
He frustrates the wisdom of the wise. You can't, there's no secret place you can hide that God doesn't see what you're doing.
Right.
And you can't whisper quiet enough that God can't hear it.
Right. Right.
So.
But again, this goes back to my repetitive phrase of serve God where you're planted.
Yeah.
It might not be a great planting pot, but serve God where you're planted.
Yeah, it's true.
God planted Paul in jail. For whatever reason, Paul didn't know at the time, but God had a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Paul didn't know the purpose.
No, he really didn't.
He still shared God with the people in the jail.
Yeah.
So serve God where you're planted. If you are thrown in jail, serve God in jail. If you got a new job, serve God at your new job. You got an old job, serve God at your old job. You know, if you've got to go to the grocery store, serve God at the grocery store. Serve God where you are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I think that we neglect a lot because we just get in a life busy and we just do our own thing and we don't think about what's going on around us.
We get caught up in the, oh, woe is me. Why is God treating me like this, rather than saying, well, I'm here. What can I do?
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
And just again, I just wanted to. I've spoken about this before. We have where we know somebody that is in jail ministry, and just say serve where you are, where he knows a guy that, was working with a guy that got completely beat up by his gang because he left wanted to lead the gang to be, with Christ. Got completely beat up and disfigured and everything else, and instead of accepting to go to a different cell block away from everybody else, he asked to go right back in where he was.
Right.
So he could witness.
Where he was.
Yeah, serve God where he was. So it's the Holy Spirit is spectacular.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's just
amazing. And I'm not saying that serving God where you are won't take courage, because think about the guy in the jail that went back to the same cell.
Yeah.
It takes courage.
Danger every day. I mean, you got guys wanting to kill you all the time, but he was willing to face it and go.
And that's just an example of a small amount of against spreading the gospel in America.
Yeah.
Because in America, we really don't have a lot of I can't think that word.
Prosecution.
Yeah, persecution. We don't have a lot of persecution in America other than like laughter or made fun of. We don't have a lot of persecution in America.
No, we're not getting slaughtered on a daily basis like they are in Africa or other places like that. So it's.
But it is. We do know of the one testimony. So it does happen here in America where he gets physically beat up for accepting Christ, trying to leave a gang.
Yeah.
So it does happen in the United States. We just don't hear about it as much, and it's not as frequent as other countries.
Right. Okay.
Remember our prayer things in the prayer box. Some of the online community is actually included in the prayer box from other states. They have contacted me, and I've put their concerns in the box. So there's multiple states of prayers in the prayer box, and God knows what they are. I'm just asking us to lift them up together as a community.
Awesome. All right. Hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.